take on a sadistic games master. Will they survive? Let's clap our hands and believe in magic. Authors and dragons! Authors and dragons!
Hey everybody, I'm John Hartness, and I'll be playing the role of Fandingo the Fantastical, Bard of all trades and Master of one. In real life, I write the Black Knight Chronicles, of which Book 8, title that I cannot remember, is almost finished as I'm recording this, so by the time you hear it, it will be deep in edit hell. I also write the Bubba the Monster Hunter books and the Quincy Harker Demon Hunter novels, along with a few standalones here and there. So give me all of your monies.
Hi, I'm Joseph Brassi. I play the role of Bjorn Bjornsson, enthusiastic and violent barbarian. I was an author of the Mongolian books, and my novels Skyfarer and Dragon Road are available from Angry Robot Books. Go get them today. I'm also the author of such non-existent titles as Boysenberry and Butts.
I absolutely shit myself there.
Yeah, we were muted, but I literally said no when I heard that voice.
For fuck's sake, how am I supposed to follow that?
Oh, God.
Hi, everyone. And I don't even remember my fucking name. I have to listen to that. I play Arrow of the Gods, and I have stuff out there. Go get Everyday Horrors on audio.
Hello, friends. My name is Robert Bevan. I play the role of Klaus Richter, the notorious rogue. In real life, I write the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels and short stories, starting with the first book, Critical Failures. I also write many of the Shingles stories, and we have an announcement. The third audiobook collection of Shingles has been released on Tantor and is available on audible.com. So go get that.
Hi there, my name is Steve Weverill, and I play Brandon Fymester, sexually attractive monk and octopus diplomat, maybe. In real life, I write such books as the Doomsayer Journeys, the complete audio version of which is currently available on audio as a collection. Go get that.
Salutations, Inquisilators. I am Drew Hayes, momentarily touched by the genius of the great Sherman Holmes, of whose exploits you can now read about in Kindle and print. 5-Minute Sherlock, The Case of the Damaged Detective, out on print and ebook. Announcement, yay! And in other news, I am Drew Hayes. I write books such as that one, Superpowered NPCs, Fred the Vampire Accountant, and Underqualified Advice, available in audio now. Also, Fred 6, Undeading Bells, pretty much available now as you're listening to this. No, the 28th, almost available. Little more patience. All right. When last we left our intrepid adventurers, Joe, what the fuck? Hang on.
Yeah, we should just fucking stop recording there because Joe broke the internet.
Yeah, I'm done. Goodbye.
Yeah, that was, wow. We did not get warning about that.
Rick sure as fuck didn't.
Joe found his Farnsworth butter biscuits.
And last we left our intrepid adventurers, they had befriended some octopuses. In truly a shocking display, they found NPCs they liked who didn't sell them drugs.
It's early yet.
It is. You've spent a few hours and a brawl hasn't broken out, so that's something. But after that...
Can you drink that?
I mean, you can drink any liquid.
How do you milk an octopus?
That's not an udder, bro.
Buy it dinner first.
Oh, there's 8 of those too. Live and learn. I believe we left off on something roughly equivalent to a voice after a big creature shadow thing had arrived in the night, and you hear a voice. Mr. Persimmons, it appears we have guests. And why don't we just go ahead and open with a fresh round of perceptions? Let's just crack this off right.
I cannot be the only person who expected him to say roll initiative.
don't think I bought my formal thong. It still sounds a bit fancy.
Klaus Richter rolls a 7.
The Arrow of the Gods also rolls a 7.
Fendingo rolls a 13.
Brandon Fimester rolls a 21.
Bjorg rolls a 21.
All right.
Bjork sounds like his testicles finally descended.
The horror goblin has gone.
Not completely!
All right. We are going to give this to you guys in order of what you see. So, with 7s, everybody, including Klaus and... is it Silas or Arrow of the Gods for the moment?
Arrow of the Gods. Silas is
Arrow of the Gods.
currently safe.
Gotcha. So then you will both notice the form of an enormous, or a huge, not enormous, these are different classifications, that's right, huge, as in the category, creature step down. It is, well, it's 7, there's light, I'll just give you this one. It is a giant ape. It is a giant ape. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the token, but first we have to get to Fendingo, who can see a little bit better, and who can notice that it's not exactly as the art implies. I'm just using what I can find on the Roll20 system. But the giant ape is wearing all manner of finery. It is clad in a handcrafted, bespoke outfit.
Pimpin' and stylin'.
Why is that on the Roll20 system?
I don't know, man, but you don't know how hard I had to look to find something close to giant monkey in a nice outfit, so I took it. It was a win, and I took it.
There is a Japanese dating sim called Handsome Bodyguard Gorilla, which is about a handsome gorilla bodyguard in a suit that you romance, and that's all I'm thinking of right now.
I won't even ask why you know that.
I know so
will.
many things. Ask me about Hatofu boyfriend sometime.
Oh, that one, everybody. The pigeon one?
Yeah, the pigeon one and the horse dating sim.
Oh, yeah, the horse boy one? Or like
Yep,
the horse
horse boy.
face?
I can't help but think we're going down a dark alley right now. Maybe.
Fucking idea what's going on.
Yeah, well, we've done a mimic for How Did This Get Played. If you like weird games, that's a great podcast to listen to. This is where I learned about a lot of these. So going forward to Brandon Thighmaster and Bjorn Bjornsson, who had the same. Fendingo, you notice another figure, but the giant ape in the fancy outfit really steals the show. So you just kind of like, all right, there's a figure there. Brandon and Bjorg have much better spots, so they will fully notice. Get the layer thing right. There we go. An elf in fine clothing as well. Clearly looks like the general casty type. Good morrow, my guests. What a pleasant surprise.
Who's saying that, the gorilla or the...
No, the person is talking. The gorilla has not, that you have seen, spoken yet.
Boo.
I should put my member away.
That would be a good idea. Please sheath your dick.
I assumed that the fancy dressed monkey was in charge. A little bit disappointed that his elf herald seems to be taking center stage.
Maybe it's one of those deals where the elf is the mouthpiece, but the monkey is telepathically controlling the elf.
What's one of them deals?
It's D&D Master Blaster.
Fendingo, actually, the octopus that you have been conversing with points a tentacle at you, and you hear in your mind, Great mage comes to help.
Awesome. Guys, the monkey is a great mage. He's here to help.
Oh, no. Mr. Persimmons is quite a talented friend here, but I am the mage. And the guy gives a glorious bow.
Oh, shit. Sorry, bro.
I go by Monroe, and it is a pleasure to make your acquaintances. Who may I say am I speaking with?
I think the monkey's talking through him through ventriloquism. That's a neat trick.
I am Bjorn Bjornsson of the North.
I am Fendingo the Fantastical of, well, here, currently.
Brandon Firemaster of the Temple of the Many Fists. I'm a little bit disappointed that this monkey is not going to perform magic.
Hello, friend. My name is Klaus Richter.
And I am the arrow of the gods. Of the gods.
He claps his hands. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, it is a pleasure to make every one of your acquaintances. Now I say, but perhaps you would prefer a more traditional welcome. I have an array of food and drink set out back at the mansion. Of course, if you prefer to camp on the beach, you are more than welcome to. I know these three make fine hosts.
I would prefer food and drinks.
We just ate, but we can go hang in your mansion. That's cool.
Never turn down a monkey in a tuxedo. It's an obscure saying of the Temple of the Many Fists, but yeah, it seems to fit this situation.
It's an older code, but it checks out.
All right, you see Monroe raise his hand, and he sort of flips something out of it. If anyone wants to try and make a perception to see exactly what it is, you may. But it is not easy in the faded light.
Fendingo rolls a 16.
Brandon Firemaster rolls a 19.
That's perception, you said?
Yes.
Klaus Richter rolls an 11.
Arrow of the gods rolls an 18.
Bjorg rolls a 21.
Klaus, you can't really see anything. It sort of looked like he just made a gesture, and you're thinking, wizard, that's probably what they do, or some shit like that.
Hey,
The rest-
I'm a wizard.
Yeah, that's why that's what you think. You know wizards make hand gestures.
Sounded derogatory.
It was more derogatory toward wizards than anything, but that's just all spellcasters.
You're talking to a wizard.
Yeah.
You know one spell, and I can guess what the hand gesture for it is.
This real wizard is flipping you off.
I feel like after 10 games without casting a spell, I'm not sure you get to call yourself a wizard anymore.
I mean, the only cantrip you learned was Mage Hand Job.
Still working on that.
So you can't see anything. You just assume it's part of his gesture for whatever he's doing. The rest of you, except for Bjorg, see it looks kind of like some sort of silver thread. But it's very thin. You can't really make it out. Bjorg, you're the only one who can see it is a silver thread. But it's not just like wafting about. It sort of like spins and forms into a giant circle. And I mean a giant circle, like big enough that Mr. Persimmons can walk through. And it's a good thing because within that thread that he spun, you see a giant gate appear. Just sort of pops through. Who has Knowledge Arcana trained?
Probably not.
Yes, please.
You may roll it.
Yeah, so Fendingo rolls an 8.
Okay.
I've obviously never seen this shit before in my life.
Yep. This is a fancy new one for you. But basically, it appears to be just like he cut a hole in the world, and through it you can walk, and there is a big, beautiful mansion with food set out, exactly as described.
Fucking A, let's go.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, sure.
As we're walking through, I'll try to detect evil on this guy.
If I can't see this, as soon as people start disappearing into space, I'll follow.
You can see the giant portal. The roll was for the roll was to see what he was using to create this.
I don't give a shit. I'm in it for the food and drink.
So yeah, so far as you know, it was just a spell.
Somebody performs like a common magic, and our only qualified wizard is like, what the fuck is going on?
Holy shit! Can you believe that?
That's not how magic missile works.
Oh man.
So, thanks, octopus guys. You guys were cool.
Oh yeah, definitely say goodbye to our octopus friends.
Oh yeah, they wave back at you. Very nice parting. Arrow of the gods for detect evil and good. You do detect a fae because he's clearly an elf. It's not really hidden. He has the ears and everything.
I knew it.
Hey.
So yeah,
Careful there, Arrow.
you detect an elf. It's Monroe.
Just look at turn to Fendigo. All you elves look alike to me.
Oh, jeez.
All right, so everyone is heading to the mansion.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right, you go through. The gate closes behind you. It obviously doesn't have a standard giant gate to the beach in his house. As soon as you arrive, you are offered seats by a scuttling purple octopus. Monroe goes to the head of the table. Mr. Persimmons obviously takes his own seat. No one is going to be contesting him for that one, I imagine.
No, that makes sense. Is it a particularly fancy seat?
It's nice. I mean, it's as well constructed as you could reasonably hope for, given the circumstances.
This is pleasing to me.
It was clearly made with care. There is a certain amount of aesthetic that has to be sacrificed to create a table and chair that large, but certainly not slapdash.
Jesus Christ, that's a big-ass chicken.
Mr. Persimmons has a big-ass appetite.
There's a huge monkey in a suit in a fine giant chair. Like, wow, look at the size of his dinner. All right, played it cool. I can dig it.
Please, come, have a seat. Relax. Tentamore will be happy to serve you. We have mead, beer, ale, wine, a few
Yes.
of imported liqueurs that have swum up upon the shores. We are at an interesting place, a nexus of the tides, a place where many things gather.
Okay, I'm done being cool. I can't help but notice that you have a giant monkey in a suit.
Ah, Mr. Persimmons, my close friend, personal aide, and bodyguard. He has been with me for many years.
And I think he's technically an ape. Just throwing that out there.
It's difficult to tell.
Don't mislabel the monkey.
Right.
Ape. Whatever.
Under the finely tailored three-piece suit he is wearing.
I just don't want you to offend Mr. Persimmon. Because I am afraid of Mr. Persimmon.
3-piece suit of awesome.
Don't worry, he's over at the kids' table.
You're right. He looks like the litigious type, to be fair. So,
If you want to go based on size, you guys are the kids' table.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I see you sort of answered that question without answering it at all. But I'm a polite person.
He will raise his hand. I understand you will have many questions about Mr. Persimmons and the curious oddities you may find upon this island, and I shall happily answer them, but it would be rude to get into conversation without first introducing the rest of our guests.
Yeah, okay.
You see, we get visitors here quite rarely, so when I heard some had landed, I invited some of the higher aides and assistants who also work here to join us. They can't come in person, but they have a sort of, emissary. You'll see. It's quite fun. Let me bring them in. First, an emissary of my air commander, Squaw. And a vulture flies in and lands across from Brandon.
Hello.
It squawks at you. Next up, Cruzzle, leader of my forest troops. And a spider clicks across the floor.
Oh, dear God.
That is a very large spider.
Yep. Next up, he's quite an endurant little fellow. He runs the land division. Bart.
That's a goat.
Is that a goat?
That's a goat.
Okay.
And, of course, the hardest one to get here. It took quite a few tries to find an emissary for him. The leader of my aquatic legions, Coral.
Nice.
Yeah. Well,
And it's a horseshoe crab, Scuttles. Big one, though.
so-
Just a giant-ass crab. And they all seat themselves and begin helping themselves to the meal that has been set out, as other guests would.
It's very nice to meet all of you. And I'm going to start helping myself to alcohol.
Are they operating cutlery at all?
The spider is doing its best.
See, I can never remember where to start with the cutlery, so I'm going to keep an eye on the spider and see how this is done.
Dude, it's
So based
outside in.
on what Cruzzle is doing, the appropriate manners would be to spray webbing on one of your legs, and then poke a soup spoon with it until it's stuck, and then use that spoon to roughly scoop salad onto its plate.
I'm not sure how to spray webbing.
Klaus knows how.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be rude and just go ahead and eat. I gotta replenish the troops before I spray some webbing.
Can we just for once have a nice dinner together without you ruining it? Just jerk off down your leg. Appease our guests.
My God.
It's like, no, that don't stick the salad fork in your dick.
Look at him
Either end of it.
sitting there eating normally like an embarrassment. I can't take you anywhere, man.
Bjorg will eat with gusto. Mead!
Who's Gusto?
Yeah, there is plenty of drink being brought. Tentamore, as you might expect from an octopus, is a pretty good waiter/bartender.
Drink.
I do like these octopus people.
So after everyone has been kind of dining for a bit, is there anything y'all want to do before conversation with Monroe resumes, or?
No, because I'm afraid that anything I do will get me fucking killed.
So after everyone's been tucking in for a little bit, I mean, like when food comes, there's like that 10 minutes where everyone just fucking crams down, and then finally people speak again. We're at that point.
Okay.
People out there who aren't hungry monsters are just listening like, what?
Assuming the vulture isn't currently vomiting up bile or whatever it is they do at a dinner table.
Pecking bread.
Just pecking bread. Oh,
Yeah.
That seems very genteel.
They are, all of the animals are very well composed. Mr. Persimmons is ripping hunks off of his chicken and eating and then dabbing with a napkin.
Brandon Firemaster will make polite conversation. He will say, "So, you are a vulture."
Squaw!
Yes.
You have made good contact.
Monroe. These guys are all emissaries of what, like armies of yours?
Well, armies is one way to put it. I like to think of it as... I do not think of them as armies so much as a necessary preventative measure. If you have not been traveling these islands long, you may not be aware, but they are quite dangerous. A tremendous amount of unnatural and unsavory things make their homes in these shifting waters. It is an unfortunate but necessary truth that to defend one's home, one must be prepared to fight for it. And as this is their home too, they are willing to pitch in.
You'll be happy to know there's considerably less islands now than there were a while back.
I was going to say, if the conversation is turning towards dangerous islands and suddenly feeling a lot more comfortable in this environment.
Yeah. You said that this is a nexus of the tides where all kinds of things wash up. What kinds of things? Have you had any problems with big flaming horses?
No flaming horses that I'm aware of. There was the one enchanted with ice magic, but that was something of a fluke.
Do you have a plan for flaming horses if flaming horses happen?
Mr. Persimmons, do we have a plan for flaming horses? Mr. Persimmons lets out a loud, snorty grunt and cracks a chicken bone in his hand.
It's like Fandango's getting ahead of the action here. It's like, do you happen to have flaming evil horse insurance?
No, I'm trying to find out if they are my flaming evil horse insurance. That last island was a shit show.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, this seems like an opportune time to bring up the fact that we may have been witness to, like, the first stage of the apocalypse. Is that something we should be bandying about, or are we embarrassed about that somehow? I just don't know what the formalities are at this dinner party scenario.
Well, all of you ran. I protected you, so yes, you should be embarrassed.
I'm fairly certain this party has no idea what the word embarrassed means.
I, for one, believe that shame is a waste of time.
So,
Well, the goat appears to have an erection and is pissing on the carpet, so I think we're in good company, Bjorn.
that's Klaus.
Yeah, the goat is very well mannered.
Still Klaus. So the reason I ask is we might have recently escaped from an island that was being attacked by a flaming horse and a lot of demons.
A lot of demons, like a lot.
That is quite a concern. I imagine we'll have to double check the wards and ensure that everything on the island is up to top shape just in case. But I dare say any would-be invaders might find themselves unhappy to come upon my island. There's not a tremendous amount of resource or value here other than what has been built, and I find the inhabitants would be quite unwilling to part with their home easily. It would be an endless battle for them, and with little gain.
That's what I like to hear. Somebody who's willing to fight for their home while I run away.
Is it kind of impolite to point out that the last island we had a lot of brave people fighting for their home, who are now all probably dead?
That is not incorrect.
I don't want to bring down the tone.
We were outnumbered and outmanned. Retreat was the only sensible option. However, I do not like it.
Now, let's just point out, brave does not necessarily equal competent.
We're also not exactly sure where that island was because we kind of have no idea where we are.
Brandon would like to, politely as possible, suggest that everybody on the last island is probably dead. And also hint that, maybe retreating in that scenario wasn't entirely embarrassing.
We were fighting backwards, I thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
Klaus would like to, if nobody's looking, sneak some dinner rolls into his bag of holding. You never know when.
It's not really rolls, it's more the big hunks, but you can easily tear some off and stow it away, and not long after you look up and it's been replaced, Tentamore is on that shit.
Oh, perfect.
It's got a bag of holding. Let's see who runs out of... do you run out of space first, or do they run out of bread first? Let's just put this to the test.
Come to this wonderful feast. Oh, okay. Starts pulling out his Tupperware, starts shoveling it all in.
Let's just put his bag of holding under his shirt.
You're totally the guy who orders extra breadsticks at Olive Garden right before you ask for a to-go box.
Klaus is the worst person at the office potluck.
Klaus is the worst person most places.
So, we've got this magical map. Can you maybe update our magical map to put where the hell we are on it?
A magical map? Do you have it with you? You do not. It's part of the ship.
No.
Yes.
We left it with our ship.
With our magical ship.
Ah, Jesus fuck.
Also with a magical
is the
box.
map? So the ship is magical and the map is magical.
Also, we
Yes.
have a magical egg named Tor Egg.
Its name is not...
Oh, fascinating. That intrigues me, but the map and ship sound like a fairly standard high-end magical option around here that many ships employ. Uses something of a auto-directional feature, but it's only helpful once it's calculated, and it needs to be docked and have, opportunity to calculate with the ley lines and the tides. To be frank, it's not my area of expertise. I don't fully understand the mechanics of it, but to my understanding, with adequate time, it should auto-update itself and be capable of journeying forth.
That's great, because when we left the boat, I looked at the map and it was just this whole blue screen. So hopefully it was just updating.
Ah, yes. If you decide to leave, I imagine it should be no issue.
Getting back to our magical Tor Egg, do you think you could tell us what it is?
Brandy.
If you'd like to bring it over, by all means. Unfortunately, my gate spell is a once-per-day trick, so you'll have to go back the long way in the morning.
I have a ring that I'd really like to remove from my finger without removing my finger. Is that a thing you do?
You know, in a way,
I could pay you in pieces of bread.
In a way, I might have a solution for you. And it sort of loops back around to the question Brandon Thighmaster posed. I believe you were interested in Mr. Persimmons, yes?
Oh dear.
Oh yeah, he does engender a lot of interest.
I'd like to restate that I'd like to keep my finger.
You might keep your finger, it just might not be the same species as it is now.
It might just be broken in like 17 places.
I mean, wearing it around
That's
your
fine.
neck is still keeping it.
Yeah, I have long been fascinated by the quest for immortality. As an elf myself, we were of course granted grand, luxurious lifespans with which to research and needle the great questions of reality, but the other races are not quite so blessed. And so I turned my thoughts early in my time to what if it was possible to go beyond the limitations of a natural lifespan, an idea that the body is changeable. It is only the mind and the soul that are truly of importance.
Wait a minute, no, I think you have that backwards. I'm fairly certain that immortality is achieved physically where everyone can see it, and therefore where it counts.
I'm more intrigued. So you're saying you could technically take Klaus's brain and soul and transport it into like a potato?
How's that different?
Not a potato. It still needs to be something capable of sustaining thought and action, the same systems that our current vessels are accommodated to.
That's roughly about like, his capability for thought and action.
So you're suggesting that rather than remove the cursed ring from Klaus, you simply transfer Klaus's consciousness into a less incompetent body.
I'd like my member.
That would be one such of an option. It is the same method by which the 70-year-old Mr. Persimmons, whose body was failing him, found a new lease on life. Young, strong, indomitable, capable of putting all his years of training to good use. Mr. Persimmons snorts again and tears into a big-ass hunk of chicken.
I want to see those chickens.
He's looking good for 70. I'll give him that.
Dude.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know, the ring isn't bothering me that much.
You must think of it from the mortal point of view. They age so quickly. For one of their ilk staring down the barrel of death so soon, the gamble of life in a new body is not quite so scary as the potential of what comes next.
How often could you jump from body to body?
It is a taxing process, and of course, highly experimental, as you might imagine. I am, to my knowledge, the only current practitioner of this particular magical form, and it has been tirelessly and painstakingly researched over the years.
So you couldn't just, make me a hot chick?
There are easier ways to have a midlife crisis.
Oh no, certainly not. We would, first of all, need to have such a body to transpose you into.
Damn. Always wondered what it'd be like to have boobs.
And yet you travel around with these companions.
Yeah, that's true. I do kind of know what it's like to have boobs.
But
I'm not sure I can get behind this, philosophically speaking. At the Temple of the Many Fists, we believe it is the mission of each and every living being to seek and find perfection within the limits and means of its own existence, whereas hopping into a new body just whenever you feel like it sort of feels like maybe you're just laughing in the face of the universe.
But what about the opposite? What if you were to take your mind and put it into, say, stand-in Thighmaster's body, giving you a chance to work it all out again?
I'd be like the ultimate personal trainer. You do raise a good point. But then again, stand-in Thighmaster hasn't really achieved perfection there, has he? He's just, in this hypothetical scenario, he is still just a fat, balding, middle-aged man. Like, spiritually.
Is there like a naked old man running around the woods, like with an ape mind?
You see, there you go. This raises a very good... Klaus, unbelievably, raises a very good philosophical point.
Oh, I wish I'd made that.
We're so glad you didn't make that icon.
It's fun. Monroe will chuckle a little. No, unfortunately, Mr. Persimmon's original body was not able to bear the strain of the transfer. It was a known risk that he accepted in the gamble, and fortunately was able to come through the other side.
That is
Now-
impressive. How does he feel about being a monkey now, or an ape, or...
It seems to feel pretty good about it.
Mr. Persimmons will look directly at you, Bjorg, because he is answering your question, and he will take that fine suit and he will flex his arm, and he will just show them big old giant ape guns, and he will slap a hand on it once, and just you hear the thud.
That is the good, deep thudding. This man is built. This ape is built. I can't do this right.
He is both, you see. He is a man and a giant ape. He is an amalgamation of things, a beautiful synthesis, transcending the limitations of his original flesh.
So, but like Coral, I mean, are all these friends here?
Ah, the emissaries, yes. These are something special. The bodies they occupy are not easily mobile in all terrains, and
Horseshoe
certainly
crab.
not capable of stepping in and having dinner with my guests.
No.
In order to facilitate easier communication, they have these additional options, capable of conducting some of their sentience. Think of them as magical relays.
Like Muppets.
Okay, so there's not like a dude in that horseshoe crab.
There's not like a dude running around being a goat.
It
No.
would be more accurate to say there is a fraction of a dude in the horseshoe crab and a greater fraction in his true body
Okay,
elsewhere.
all right, I got you.
Muppets.
Because, yeah, he would have gotten a raw deal. I mean, do they even have, like, open circulatory systems or shit?
The horseshoe crab is a fascinating creature, but truly not the most viable for many purposes. Handy for those who need aquatic transport, though.
No.
Excellent.
I think I'm going to need more wine.
Keep that in mind.
No, the horseshoe crab will keep that in mind.
The horseshoe crab grabs a thing of beer, and you just see the little weird horseshoe crab tendril thingies just going in the liquid.
Horseshoe crab has the right idea. Fending goes down in wine like it's his job. Oh, wait.
You're the bard. It kind of
I'm a
is your
bard.
job.
It is.
I don't know. I'm not going to cause a scene here, but I do think that this process of just body jacking other animals or humans is it's a lazy way to deal with your lack of perfection.
I'm not against it in principle, but
Can you put Fandingo's mind into Brandon's body?
Can you get fucked?
You will if Fandango's in your body.
Interestingly, I find that transitioning a humanoid to another humanoid is complicated and very rarely successful. The mind rebels against a familiar but wrong shape. It adapts better to something completely new.
You're damn right the mind rebels. Stay out of my body, Fandango. In all possible interpretations of that phrase.
My mind's kind of thinking about it over here. I'm like, a little more wine. Let's see what happens.
I'm quite fond of my own member.
We know.
There are probably other easier ways to get rid of a ring.
Every time you say member, I get very uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah. So, can you disenchant Klaus's hand?
Unfortunately, no, I have a specific discipline, as you can see.
Can you transmute his hand into somebody else's ass?
I could remove him from him, and in the process remove the issue, but the ring itself I cannot.
No, that's fine.
I mean, we might circle back. Let's put a pin in that. We'll circle back around.
It is an interesting prospect, is it not? Consider the capacity to be
it's interesting.
strong, endurance, powerful, forever.
If I had a member like one of these guys, then I'd be all over that.
What
As it
potential
stands, though.
bodies do you have to swap into?
Kinda,
I mean, while we're negotiating here.
he kind of taps his head. For you, I imagine the noble steed.
Or a jackass.
I've been a horse.
Donkey.
He turns to Fendingo. For a bard? I have just the notion. Something colorful and verbose. For a barbarian, such as yourself, now that would be more perplexing. Something endurant and strong, capable of plowing through. A boar. We have a very tough boar that would be quite right. He looks at Klaus. I don't know why, but when I look at you, all I can think is weasel. It just seems like a natural fit. Does that make sense to you? I'm getting a vibe.
I'm not hiding Ron Weasley Jeremy. I assumed he was at the table eating with me, but
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll just say at that point he pops out. Ah, familiar. Yeah. That makes sense. You tend to intuit with the animal you bond to. I see, yes. We have weasels on hand. That would be perfectly doable. And for you, noble monk, some sort of cat, I have to imagine. We've got something with claws and vanity. I feel it would be a reasonable fit.
Brandon, you could finally lick your own ass.
I've no desire to lick my own ass, really. I mean, I'm pretty flexible. I can already kind of like look into my own asshole shit I want to. But you're kind of getting me off track here. We'll talk about that later. Mr. Wizards, I can't help notice that you seem to have put a lot of thought into transferring our consciousness into animal bodies. Is this something you do to guests often?
Well, consider it a trial period. You see, people reject the idea initially because they presume that the body they're in is the ultimate form, but you don't really know until you've taken a test drive. So I like to impose something of a mandatory test run, if you will. Gives you the opportunity to see beyond your limitations without committing. If you can find your way back to your bodies, your original bodies, you are more than welcome to retake them.
Oh, this fucker's about the island of Dr. Moreau's.
I don't like this.
I can already see beyond my limitations, as you probably just deduced from the asshole conversation we just had. And I feel I should point out that I've already been turned into some animals, and it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. So, you have a lovely home here, but I think maybe perhaps we should be getting back to our ship and our egg friend.
I feel like you're quite a bit of wine and food past that point now.
Oh, God damn it.
Shit.
He's right. It would be incredibly rude to leave right now. He's got us.
The first one is going to be poison.
All right.
This one is going to be a con save. DC 15. If you have poison, immunities, or resistances, please apply them appropriately.
Brandon, you get a +3 since you're next to me.
Oh, excellent. I chose well. The old seating arrangements here.
Bjorg rolls a 17.
So, Arrow of the Gods gets an 18.
Nice.
Klaus rolls a 9.
Klaus is down.
Fendingo rolls a 20.
Fendingo is up. All right.
Brandon Firemaster does not have purity of body yet. He rolls a 15 Constitution save +3.
Okay.
18.
You make it through the first. Everybody but Klaus makes it through the first round. Next up is the explosion from the blue bottle over here. that nobody looked at or asked about next to the turkey.
It's just we'd be distracted by a monkey in a suit, man.
That's what the monkey in the suit is for! The bottle explodes in a cloud of mist, and as you hear Monroe say, the poison didn't get all of you. That's impressive. The bottled dragon's breath, that tends to do it. So we're going to do another con save, this time DC 18.
Bjorg rolls a 21.
Nice.
Fendigo nat 20s.
Our arrow goes down with an 11.
Brandon Firemaster, realizing it would be extremely impolite to leave the table without asking permission, sits there and lets the explosion hit him in the face with an 8.
Oh, man. All right. And so we've got 2 still standing, and he's only got 1 trap thing left, but it is... All right, so he's going to be doing this at 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. All right, here we go. Oh, man, I don't think he's going to roll high enough to put either of you to sleep. None of you have 29 hit points.
No.
Ah. All right, then. He makes a snap, and you both can notice the ripple of air around Fendingo and Brandon. My, you two are quite endurant. I'm very impressed. I suppose
also, magic can't put me to sleep. I'm a half-elf.
Nice.
Oh, wait, I'm a half-elf, too. Oh, that's poison.
Poison, however.
There's a reason he hits with poison and dragon breath
Yeah.
and sleep magic.
Covering the bases there.
Yep. So he's locked you in. He says, "Well, this is rather unfortunate. I hate doing it this way. It's so uncouth. But I've sealed you in a force cage, and soon you'll run out of oxygen and pass out. Mr. Persimmons, begin loading the others into the laboratory."
How big is the force cage?
It is literally surrounding you two. It is like just you two in a thing. Wall, hang on. Like, I'll draw it if you need me to, but I
don't. I just needed to know that it was a little bigger than just me.
Yep.
Good. Sorry, Bjorg. I'm going to dimension door the fuck out of here.
You have to roll to be able to dimension door out of a force cage.
Okay.
They are real fuckers. Okay. Sorry, I just have to look up the save to be able to do it. Try teleportation. It must first make a charisma saving throw.
Well, if I'm going to make a save in any fucking thing. 15.
That does not beat it.
Shit.
Good effort, mate.
And you burn the spell.
Yeah.
It costs you the spell to try. Sorry, man.
No, that's fine. If it takes more than 60 seconds to pass out, I can try it again.
I just love it. Sorry, Bjorg. Woof.
Nothing happened.
That's awkward.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
Oh, I just meant I farted in the force cage. I wasn't going to leave you here to die.
I mean, I know you wouldn't leave me. You're a good friend.
Of course not.
Yes, a good friend.
But I might teleport somewhere, knock the fuck out of the mage, and break his concentration so that the force cage goes away.
That's typical bar talk. But it wasn't for this force cage. I should have done a thing or two.
That didn't work, did it?
Monroe laughs. Oh, my. You have so much to learn on the casting arts. Force cage isn't even a concentration spell.
Yeah, well, neither's your dick if I get out of here. That did not make any sense.
We're quite lucky. I thought for a moment he was going to say you got so much to learn on the casting couch.
Silly Bard, do you think that I am holding you here for your, what, pain, torture? This is for your own protection. If you flee from here into the wild, what do you think you will find? An entire island of people who are, well, not in their natural state and do not know of any humans that are not threats. If they see you, they might perceive you to be food at best.
I
I was
want
kind of just going to punch you on principle.
to stay in my own body.
And you absolutely can, if you decide to go back to it and, find your way there, prove, etc., etc. There's a whole general trial. This is a science experiment. We must get data.
We've got to have been in here long enough for me to try my spell again.
Yeah, you can give it another shot.
Rolled a 20 on the charisma save.
Okay, you can successfully dimension door.
All right. I want to dimension door to directly behind the mage.
Okie dokie. All right, you dimension door to directly behind the mage.
And now I want to punch him.
Nope. Casting a spell still in action, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. Oh dear. This is troubling. Okay. Fendingo, you are now in a one-man force cage, and it is completely around you.
All right. Entering the eighth. Entering the eighth till I run out of air.
Mr. Persimmons, if he moves again, put him down the aggressive way.
Yes, good point. And yeah, he put you in another force cage. He could have let that fancy monkey beat you to death, I suppose.
Still singing Entering the eighth at the top of my fucking lungs.
I want my own body, you fucking ponce.
You guys do technically have a little time to talk before your air runs out if you want to say anything.
Oh, I am aggressively going to just bark like a motherfucker.
Let's see here. Can Bjorg is it conceivably possible for Bjorg to bash his way out? I don't think that works with force cage.
No. Force cage is very strong.
How strong? Can I roll?
You cannot leave by non-magical means.
Oh, okay. Bjorg's gonna just bash on the inside of it. Anyway, he doesn't know any better.
Just 120 seconds of abuse.
Yep.
I'm Henry the Eighth, I am. Henry the Eighth, I am.
So you can see Mr. Persimmons very gently picking up your friends and carrying them one by one down the blue carpet into a different door than Tentamore has been going in and out of. He's been using the red carpet, probably to the kitchen. So he is going to very slowly collect you and take you out of the room, and that is your first night on the island of Warlock Monroe.
Weirdly enough, there was one episode we were in where we were transformed into animals, and Drew made a joke about, or is this just the start of the animal arc? And I don't know, here we are. I guess we're all animals now.
We're now going to play GURPS, Bunnies, and Burrows.
This is what I get for backing that Dungeons and Doggos Kickstarter, isn't it?
I think I'm going to have a lot to talk about with Ron Weasley Jeremy later.
One Weasley Jerry's going to be busy mating with you.
Just slapping you nonstop. Quit making me drink so much beer. Buy good liquor.
It's time for your lessons, Klaus.
Stop jerking off, then touching me.
Wash your fucking hands.
You know how hard it is to get cum out of fur? You're gonna learn. Just like throws you in the general spooge bin.
You're the familiar now, bitch.
Oh, Mr. Persimmons is going to look at some porn. Throws you. No.
Oh my god.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I had a lot of fun planning this one out. Oh, this is gonna be a fun one. I was curious if anybody would manage to get away. Fandingo, you had a shot. You got out of the force cage.
Yeah, but I knew I couldn't fight my way out, so my only shot was to get Bjorg out.
Bjorg versus Mr. Persimmons.
My money's on the guy with the fucking sword.
I don't know, man. Apes are fucking big.
Yeah.
Big ape's one thing, pointy fucking steel is another.
Yeah, the problem is the ape that can punch you from 15 feet away.
If he's a
You're
warlock,
also
he can only do
assuming
that a
Mr.
few
Persimmons
times.
doesn't have a sword.
Yeah, the guy's got funds.
Leave me my little illusions, Drew. Leave me my little illusions.
If the custom tailored suit didn't give it away, he might have some equipment.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably packing a fucking Glock in a shoulder holster, but
Oh, man. All right, so that is our episode of Authors and Dragons for tonight, but do not worry, listeners. As you know, we are not done. We like to take your questions on the live blog, facebook.com/Authors and Dragons. But before we get to that, we have our Discord folks who cut the line. They're from the Patreon, patreon.com/Authors and Dragons. All right, this has been me giving enough time for Rick to have that first question pulled up. Take it away, Rick.
All right. Well, here's a bit of massaging for our frequent guests, but our friend F.U. Mark. Gee, I wonder who that is. Asks, how did you guys manage to talk two-time award-winning author Rachel Carr and Emily Kaplan into appearing on the podcast in the first place?
I waved my member.
No.
kind of
No.
the exact opposite. I think there was promise of no member waving.
Well, I thought you meant they waved their members at us.
Hypnotic.
No.
Wait, did we offer to buy them Hypnotic? Because, I mean, that's just being nice to a guest. It's a
I don't know
weird,
if
like,
you're making them drink Hypnotic. That's just being rude to a guest.
look, if the guest wants Hypnotic, then that's, what you get them. Not here to judge people's booze preferences.
The fuck we aren't.
Mine has already been judged this episode.
Yeah.
Yours has been judged for 4 years.
Oh, you can get a stuff called Luster Dust on Amazon. It's very cheap, and you can make more or less Hypnotic out of any liqueur if you want. If you're doing like any sort of serving party or whatever, it swirls glitter in. It's cool as shit.
What's this called?
What is
Yeah, it's called Luster
hypnotic?
Dust. It's edible glitter.
Yeah, that's stripper dust, dude.
Brighten up the old toilet bowl.
It's also the name of edible food glitter, man.
Luster dust.
There's a lot of... Hell, Walmart carries that shit. Although it's half that price at Michael's.
You can just mainline that stuff until you fart glitter.
Most baller thing of all, it makes my dookie twinkle. I remember that line decades later. God.
What the fuck is that from?
Chappelle's Show. The grinding up diamonds on your food. There's got to be a product that makes you have glitter shits by this point, right? Like that
This
just
has
seems
got
like
to
where
do
we
with it,
are in the
doesn't it?
culture.
I would assume so.
Is that product glitter?
I'm just trying to remember if this is how we
mean-
convinced him to appear on the podcast.
Yeah, and let's don't be careful what you ask for, because do you really want to turn on Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram and just see nothing but glitter shits?
I'm talking
it's
about
Kevin.
inedible glitter. That'll probably do the trick.
The FDA has issued a warning about that. Just
I'm not suggesting you do it. I don't want glitter shits.
So there you have it. We got them onto our podcast by promising them glitter shits.
We don't have a lot to offer people, let's be fair.
If you come on Authors and Dragons, you'll shit glitter. And oddly enough, that was a sale. That was a winning sales pitch.
there are pills on Etsy that are designed to make you shit glitter.
I had a feeling.
Let me ask: do we want a fun one or a serious one?
Which one do you think we'll get better discussion out of?
Yeah. Well, let's see how serious the serious one.
Yeah.
All right.
is.
And how much
all
we can fuck with it.
All right. Our friend Shane says this might be a bit maudlin for the podcast, but it was my father's funeral. Sorry to hear it, Shane.
God damn it.
So my question is, as authors, do you use your loss in your writing, or do you consider it too private and personal for that?
I totally fucking use it. I actually set a Bubba story essentially at my mother's graveside service and had zombie undertakers try to eat the pallbearers.
I wrote a short story. After my grandmother died. It's not. It has not been published. But it's. I'm trying to remember. It's about a knight saving a maiden from a dragon, but the twist is that the dragon is this sort of spirit devouring monster, and the maiden is already dead, and is kind of trying to free her soul, I guess. It's full of tomb descriptions and shit about grief.
I am, surprisingly maudlin person a lot of the time. I figured some of my mainstream stuff it'll come up, but most of my short stories are really fucking cynical. If I ever release a short story collection and you're looking for a laugh, maybe don't buy that short story collection, because most of the short stories I write are about death, basically, and doom. They're not very funny.
I would say I use my own losses and whatnot to get emotional resonance with a character, to, put myself in their frame, but I don't really tend to use anything from my life in my works unless it's just very specifically called out, like the Thunder jokes. But, for the most part, I suppose I use it to inform on the emotional understanding of what the characters are going through, but my life tends to be mine. And I like my books and my world a little separate.
Yeah, I was going to skip this, but pretty much what Drew said. I can't articulate that well.
Yeah, there are things in my real life that do make it into my books, but they're more like the absurd and stuff. But using that to frame emotions and stuff, yes. But I mostly write to entertain. My stuff is 99.8% fiction, and I'm very happy with that.
Let's do the fun one now.
All right. What's an idea that you've come up with, whether it's a game, book, real life, whatever, that you're exceptionally proud of, even if everyone else involved was an unappreciative Philistine?
Jingles?
Wow, yes.
I have a good one. Back in college, I went to an engineering school, and I came up with this idea, and I was like, solid alcohol. And all the chem majors laughed at me. They were like, laws of physics, dumbass, can't happen. You're a fucking shithead. And now I'll admit I wasn't the one who invented it. But 20 years later, I go on to The Verge or something, and somebody's like, yes, we've just invented solid alcohol. And just right there, I was sitting there, just mentally thinking, yeah, fuck you, motherfuckers. Welcome to the future.
I'll take a swing for one. Web serials are definitely one that were not expected to have any sort of long-term value as a writer. I had, many people express concern for what I was doing when I started No More Ramen into Superpowered, as how are you ever going to move a copy if it's free online, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, that's the end of your thought.
And boy, with the rise of Wattpad and whatnot, holy shit, did that turn out to be bad thinking. So yeah, that was one. I love web serials. I loved them in the early days, and it was really great to get to see, not only my own success with them as a key part of it, but see the medium and the genre just grow in its own right the way it has. Oh yeah, I guess, I fucked that up. I didn't come up with web serials. I can't use that one. I was just thinking of out of the box stuff we had done.
Yeah, well, you decided to publish in web serials.
Yeah.
So that was your idea to do so.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I'd take it.
well, fair enough.
I tend to take the wins whenever I can find them.
I'll say Johnny Three Dicks. He is a very silly character that I loved, and a lot of people thought was a needless bit when I was describing it, and then when the book came together, I was like, no, he was great.
Smart choice.
As I say, I think we all have those characters that nobody else likes, but it's like, fuck you, I love them.
You know what? I'm gonna say from Dragon Road, the Squittens.
Oh yeah, those are good.
I'm really fucking proud of the Squittens, and I was told by an editor to cut them.
That editor was wrong.
Fuck you! I'm fighting for the Squittens. They're these for anyone who hasn't read Dragon Road. Squitten is a creature with 4 legs and head of a house cat, and the back of its body is like a squid's tentacle crown. And they fly. And they have opposable thumbs. They're about as intelligent as a squid, about as intelligent as an octopus. So they're pretty fucking smart, and they can open doors and shit, and they float through the air and propel themselves with little fart bladders that make noises when they're flying around.
Oh God, you've managed to make cats even more annoying.
Yeah, no, like on a skyship, they're literally like the worst thing you could possibly imagine, with like sensitive instruments and all of these tools and stuff. And you've got these little fart cats flying around and manipulating things with like 8, 9, 10 limbs. I'm very proud of them. Oh, also they ink people when they get upset.
I'm really proud of the Squids. Awesome. There is actually, for the curious, I do have a small TeePublic, and on that you can find a shirt that says Squitten Squad.
Oh. I don't know. I think every idea I've ever had has been brilliant and not appreciated enough. But until, I sit on a big pile of gold, I'm just going to keep telling myself that it's everyone else's problem. My ideas are brilliant.
Well, I think you had it right the first time with shingles.
that was your idea, but like this podcast, shingles is kind of like, I think it's fucking excellent, and it's what the world needs. And the fact that it has,
unlike this podcast.
I think this podcast is excellent. I think shingles is an excellent idea, and I'm genuinely surprised it's not a Netflix series yet, and we're not sitting on a pile of gold. So
we will be. Don't worry.
I think that's everybody else's fault. We just live in a world of Philistines.
I 100% agree.
Yes.
Alrighty, well, I think that wraps us up on the Discord. So, Joe, why don't we mosey on over to the Facebook and see what questions we've got waiting for us over there?
All right, our friend Keegan says, ethical and budget constraints aside, what materials would you want dice sets from? I want Velociraptor bone and osmium.
Man, I wish I knew more cool materials.
Can I coalesce Mike Bloomberg's tears?
I think that's a winner right there.
I was watching The Prestige the other day when Hugh Jackman clones himself and simultaneously kills one of the clones in order to entertain people. I was thinking about the morality of that. So I think it's probably morally ethical if I clone myself, kill that clone, and make dice out of his bones. Probably. So there you go. I'd have a dice made of me.
Ooh, yeah, you could clone yourself, cremate yourself, and then compress the ashes into dice.
Yeah, I mean, human bone dice would be cool, but there's not really an ethical way of doing that unless I have the Hugh Jackman cloning machine from the movie Prestige.
Ooh, what about volcano glass?
That's cool. I was going to say, if we're not giving a shit about like ethical concerns, I just get radioactive radium dice.
Trump's balls, all sides are one.
But do you really want to hold his balls in your hand?
Yes. Not for the reasons you might think.
Would diamond be cool, or would the edges be too sharp and you would cut yourself?
Oh man,
you wouldn't cut yourself, but you wouldn't cut yourself. But if you're gaming on a glass table, that might not be good.
Fuck your table, Jim. Fuck your table. All right, I spent $10,000 on this D20. I'm gonna roll it.
You know what would be really nice? Just some really well carved dice, but they're just like made out of ham. And you can just buy
Meat
a
dice.
pack of ham dice, and you use them and then you eat them, and then next time.
Well, they have sugar dice.
Yeah.
If you replace, my God, if you mash the two words together, you just get mice.
That
Okay.
doesn't sound very appetizing.
So, Steve, I'm kind of with you, but I'm kind of not with you. Because, like, once I roll a die across the table, I'm not down for eating it. But what if...
Especially if it's made
Yeah,
out of
but what if
ham.
it's different kinds of food?
Sugar, I can
And
understand.
it comes with a dip that you roll into.
What if you replace the table
What if-
with a skillet, and then you can lightly fry the dice as you roll them?
Now
What if
you're
it's
onto
made?
something.
What if the dice are made of hash instead of ham?
Hibachi D&D.
I think I might have had one of those ideas we were talking about that are fucking great.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that myself. Yeah.
I'm thinking of Dunkaroos. Like, get a cookie one,
Yeah.
get a little frosting go in, toss that bad boy in.
I can already see the Philistines dismissing this.
And you know something? You have a good point, Steve, because you know something? Step on a plastic dice with your bare feet, especially a four-sider, it hurts like hell. But with ham, no problem.
Step on a cold piece of ham in the middle of the night, and it's fine.
It's a celebration.
Everyone loves fucking stepping on meat in the middle of the day.
There's a party on the bottom of my foot, and I'm the guest of honor.
I really want to see now a commercial that's like an old beer can ad from like the 90s, early aughts, but it's just a guy stepping on ham, and that triggers the fountains of party.
Are you tired of stepping on hard things? Why not step on ham?
Oh yeah! Oh man, this truck full of kegs broke down in front of your house.
What are those monkeys with those really big eyes?
Lemurs?
Wow.
You
Anyway,
make a dice out of that?
their eyes. I mean, like, ethical concerns were off the table.
Yeah, you
so
did. Yeah, that was specifically given.
they'd look cool.
No, that's,
Would they
that's
not?
not a bad one. Gator
Muppet
bone would be a
eyeballs.
Yeah,
cool
it's
one.
like these dice are made out of the world's last white rhino.
Oh, cassowary claw, because you got to earn that shit.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna say I finally got one. Boar tusk. That's just like boar tusk. You gotta kill the boar. You gotta put a spear through its mouth and jam a boar sword down its skull, and then man, those teeth are yours, and you can roll them.
Either you're getting boar dice or he's getting human dice.
When
Yes.
the apocalypse hits Joe and you start your tribe, that has to be your test of manliness. You have to kill a boar and then carve its tusks into dice.
You have to kill a boar and then play D&D with me.
And only then are you a man.
Welcome to the manliest tribe.
If you're fighting boar with your bare hands, you don't really need D&D anymore.
You just gotta sure you do. You play D&D to get all domestic and to imagine things like having money.
Roll for hot water. Those were the days.
I roll. I have Wi-Fi access.
Dungeons and domesticity.
Let's roleplay people who aren't standing in their own shit.
You stand on a floor. It is floor. It is not
Yes.
poop. It is not spikes. It is not pain. It is relaxation.
It is ham.
Is Timmy joining us for our game? No, he did not pass. The boar won.
Just daydreaming of the time when we could just step on ham like it was nothing.
And now his teeth are heaven's dice.
Now he becomes the ham. The circle of ham is complete.
Then there's that one stupid warrior who kills the boar, and instead of carving the tusks, instead he carves ham dice.
and he shall be made the leader.
Get the fuck out of our tribe.
The prophecy has been fulfilled.
We use every part of the boar for dice.
We roll with every part of the boar.
Where is your boar tooth dice? And just without saying anything, he just rolls his ham dice on the floor, takes off his shoes, steps all over them. This is the way.
I got boar tusk dice. I got boar ass dice. I got boar hoof dice.
I should probably move on to the next question.
What were we talking about?
Yeah. Hurry, Joe, hurry.
Okay. Let's see here. Our friend Rachel says, which one of you makes the tastiest sandwich, and what is it? Well, that's not very fair. We haven't had a sandwich making competition.
We've also never made sandwiches out of any of us.
Oh, shit.
Yet.
That's probably what she meant.
All right, so if we were going to have a sandwich making competition, perhaps at A&D Con 2020, August 14th to 16th, Nashville, Tennessee, what sandwiches would you bring to the competition? What from your personal repertoire would you represent?
I would make my favorite sandwich in the world, which is a BLTA, a good old BLT with turkey and avocado, a nice spread of some mayo and really crisp bacon.
Nice.
It's my favorite sandwich.
I'm a simple man. I like a simple sandwich. Toast, mayonnaise, Cajun turkey, and Swiss cheese, and dill pickles.
Oh,
That'll do.
That sounds fucking
That's good.
I'm thinking if I'm going to bring it, I'm going to bring some tasty pulled pork sandwiches. Therefore, as you bite them, you can shed a tear and imagine that they're ham dice.
Wait. What goes on a pulled pork sandwich to you, Rick?
All right. Well, I personally don't like a coleslaw, but I know other people do, so I'd probably work that up. So, pulled pork, obviously. Slow roasted, about 24 hours in about a 250 oven. Barbecue sauce, cheese, and coleslaw. That pretty much, not really sure it needs much else.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. So sometimes you get some weird shit in different cultural variances. That's why I was curious. I've never had one in New Jersey. I would probably, if I'm going to go to a sandwich making competition, I'm going to fucking come to play. So I'm going to go with a chicken parmesan sandwich. Ooh. Starts with making chicken parmesan, which is not really all that hard.
Time consuming, though.
It's really not that bad. If you pound out the chicken, you only have to get a quick fry on it. Then you toss it in an oven, throw on with cheese, some basic tomato sauce. I like some with, I maybe roast up a little extra garlic in mine because I really like it. Throw that in. I think it's 30 minutes, and you'll get melty cheese. Now, for the sandwich portion, I've fucked around with a few. There's something to be said for a sweetbread, but to me, I think it's a little too much. I like a French baguette for a chicken parmesan sandwich, and if I'm really feeling like a real piece of shit, I'll get a garlic French bread sandwich.
Damn.
Like a garlic French bread loaf, and I'll use that motherfucker as the bread base. And I'll keep all that fucking garlic juicy goodness in there and just have myself a sandwich.
All right, I'm digging that.
I'm gonna bring a fucking Arby's roast beef sandwich and just eat Drew's sandwich for the rest of the day. I'll just yield the fucking field and eat what you bastards are bringing.
I'm going to go back to another one of my great ideas that are ignored by Philistines and just bring on the dinner sandwich, which is whatever you've had for dinner, put in a sandwich. It's because you've already made dinner, so you don't really have to do that much more work. And sandwiches are better than not sandwiches. So
I'm glad we went this route instead of talking about us as a sandwich, because I know somebody was going to bring up, it's like, well, what if you eat the Bevan sandwich and say it tastes just like Rick?
Well, someone did, Rick, and it was you.
The prophecy is self-fulfilled.
The snake eats its own tail.
He's just fucking sitting there going, oh, I'm so glad we didn't discuss it. I can't even get my own fucking sandwich flavor anymore in this podcast.
The snake eats its own tail, and it tastes like fucking Bevan.
I got a sandwich-related Rick question. Because I do know you're in the area of the country where they have like the weirdly stuffed sandwiches, like chicken strips and mozzarella sticks and shit on there.
We had one just the other day, fat sandwiches.
Okay, yeah. Is there a trick to this? Because like I've had a few attempts at them in other regions, and it always just turns into a shit mess. So like, is there a trick to making those that doesn't make them fall the fuck apart and be bad, or is y'all just have adapted to it?
Grease.
I mean, the thing is, I think you're kind of like separating your layers of like, of wet versus dry. So, for example, I think a fat Darrell is it's chicken strips, some marinara sauce, then you put some like some fried mozzarella sticks on that, and then you load it up with French fries.
Okay, so yeah, you got to have a lot of absorption in there.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the imitation problem, is they go too damp. Like they put too much liquidy shit in there.
Yeah, I think the dampest I've got is with like it's like getting rid of the chicken and doing like a cheesesteak in it. That can make it a little bit dicey. But yeah, I think that's just the thing is layer your wet with your dry.
Shit should always have a place to absorb that isn't the bread. Is a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
And remember, kids, mayonnaise is not just a condiment; it's a moisture barrier to protect your bread.
It's not just a condiment; it's a building tool in the ambitious sandwich.
For proper sandwich construction.
Stop thinking about food as food. Start thinking about it as ambition.
I mean, that is kind of the basis of Top Chef.
Mm. Yeah, I suppose.
All right, we got a lot out of that sandwich question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. How do you guys feel about, the universal conundrum of death and the inevitability of death? It's all right. How do you feel about sandwiches? Well, let's get into this.
Yeah, let's pull out my fucking boards.
You got room for one more?
Yeah, we got room for one more.
All right, this is a good one. This is a potentially a good one. Favorite life hack, which might just be drink all the wine. That's from our friend Stephanie.
All right. Well, that's more of a useful statement than a question, but
no, like they're asking. So I'm going to be generous. Fuck you, Stephanie, and say that what they mean by this is, what is your favorite life hack? Phrase it as a question, people.
Well, I can do one offhand. I did a blog about life hacks not long ago, and there was one that really stuck out to me, and I have still been using to this day. When you make fresh baked goods, put a slice of like standard bagged bread in there with your cookies, your brownies, whatever, and swear to fucking God, it keeps them super fresh and moist and everything. Like it's sort of like the Portrait of Dorian Gray. The bread gets stale, but the cookies are all fine. I truly did not. I was like, this is going to be bullshit. No, absolutely works. Fucking crazy.
Somebody shared a video maybe like a year and a half back in my group. And because like I've been complaining for the longest time that we have this shitty piece of crap old can opener. And I want to get a new one, like one of those fancy new ones. But like there's never you never think of it when you're out. And then somebody showed a video and said, dumbass, instead of you're holding your can opener vertical, do it horizontal on the can surface, and your can will open perfect every time. And I tried it, and they're right. And was like a life-changing moment. Like suddenly this piece of shit garbage can opener is now all good.
Damn.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, learning that the hole in a pop top on a can of soda is for your straw is pretty useful. Same for beer.
Pee before you go.
That's a good one.
If you microwave anything that's bread based, throw a mug, like have a microwave safe mug or something, fill it up with water and put it in there with it. It's going to increase the time you have to microwave it because you're adding more mass to absorb it, obviously, but it will also keep anything bread related a lot. You won't get that weird microwave dried out texture that you get when you microwave anything bread based. It keeps it kind of moist.
Does that work with microwave pizza too?
Yeah. Oh, I do not microwave pizza without water in there anymore.
Oh, goddamn! I'm gonna have to try that.
Yep.
I'm gonna say when you use French press coffee of any kind, steep it. Steep it for about 5 minutes.
Use a cider glass for ale. You'll thank me later.
Wait. What is specifically a cider glass? Because I'm not that cultured. I don't know that.
A chalice. Chalice.
Chalice.
I believe that's what it's called.
Here, I think we call that a pimp cup.
Anything with a wider brim and a shorter length.
Oh, okay. I know. I kind of got what you're talking about.
It just it suits the drink better. And anyone who says differently is an uncultured Philistine.
We've got a gaming audience here, so I'm going to give a GM tip, actually, and that's that more than planning any specific adventures, I've gotten a lot more mileage out of just having a defined cast of movers and shakers in whatever world the players are moving through, and just knowing their motivations and their desires and their methods, and then I just literally let the players run into those, and boom, you've got a story.
Yeah, my life is I need some more life hacks because I'm fucked. But I'll give you this. You can save $20 a year if you hang your ferns in the garage during the winter.
Oh, but yeah, man. That's finally.
I thought you were going to say she came to the conclusion that she can save herself a lot of trouble if she shunts her husband out to the garage all winter.
I swear to God, I thought he was about to launch into a Geico commercial.
I've been wondering what to do with my ferns during the winter.
Fuck, my ferns are saved. And I can't even. That's actually possibly useful for me. I can't keep a fucking cactus alive.
Oh, I think that has to be our ender right there. That's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to go and move my ferns down, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like
Everybody go save your plants. We will catch you next week with a side quest, and then again in 2 weeks with another episode of Authors and Dragons. Until then, bye.
Bye.
Authors and Dragons is brought to you under a Creative Commons license, meaning you are free to share this material so long as credit is given to those who created it, which is us, the people you just heard play the game. Opening and closing themes performed by the Gore Core 4.
Authors and Dragons! Authors and Dragons!
Can't we just for once have a nice dinner together without you ruining it?